Hey there and welcome to Recap Mania. Today I'll guide you through the movie Soldier Boy, based on a true life story. This is a tale inspired by Serioza Alesho, the youngest Russian soldier in World War II. The movie begins with Serioza Shishkins sitting on a tree with his brother Peter. They are fishing and his mother does their laundry. Suddenly a German plane flies by. Although his mother and Peter are scared off, Serioza isn't afraid. He'll take them down with his catapult. Later that night, Anicia, Serioza's aunt, frantically comes to fetch him from his home. She's so thankful he's alive because the Germans got to Peter and his mother and basically annihilated his family. They're never coming home again. Unfortunately, before they leave, the Germans come by their house. They kill Anicia while Serioza gets away. He's distraught as the soldiers also burn down his home. What a terrible predicament for such a young boy. Serioza is forced to retreat into the woods. Lost, afraid, and desperate for his mother, he wanders around till dawn breaks. The next day, he drinks water from a stream and is forced to hide quietly behind a tree with a snake because of some Germans. Fortunately, he's able to hold his resolve until the soldiers leave. He even gets some food from the encounter. However, that is all the food he gets for a while. Battered and in tattered clothes, he wanders around in the woods. He's even forced to avoid a bomb blast. Frantic, he roams around until he passes out and dreams of his family. Exhausted, he begs a nearby hedgehog to run and call for people before he passes out. Fortunately, he was rescued by some Russian soldiers the next day. And this is where his journey to become the youngest World War II hero officially begins. They take the weak boy to Commander Nikolai Kuznetsov, the commanding officer of the 142nd Guards Rifle Regiment. The men fawn over the cute boy who believes the hedgehog had called for their help. Upon hearing that the boy is all alone in the world, the men console him and tell him to hold his head up. Men don't cry. Well, now they do, but you know, that was in the 40s. They tend to him and feed him so he can regain his strength. In the next scene, Jacob, the regiment's tailor, the soldier who took Serioza to Nikolai, and Rizzo, Nikolai's orderly, shoot the breeze by the camp's bunkers. They are being attacked by the Germans. As they defend the camp, Katya, one of the Russian nurses, tends to Serioza's wounds before she's forced to deal with some injured soldiers. It's clear that the boy admires the soldiers, especially Nikolai. However, for now, he must rest, so Katya puts him to sleep. Sometime later, Nikolai and Rizzo return to the camp where Katya and some soldiers tend to a goat. He pays Serioza to visit, and you can see the two bonding with each other. Nikolai even shows the kid the medals he received for his valor, and the inscribed side piece he received from General Ostahov for his bravery. Later on, Nikolai runs into Katya as he leaves the camp's hospital. She begs him to allow the little boy to stay, but Nikolai doesn't believe that the war front is any place for a little boy. He wants to send Serioza to an orphanage, but we all know how those places are perceived to be. Meanwhile, the soldiers give Serioza a pair of binoculars from the soldiers as a gift. They all love him. Later that night, Katya and another nurse talk about Serioza. Katya hates the idea of letting him go to the orphanage. The nurse tells her to talk to Nikolai, but we all know how futile that is. The next day, Igor Maximovich, another Russian soldier, also hears about the predicament of letting Serioza stay or be taken to an orphanage. He says it will damage morale in the camp if the boy leaves. But Nikolai insists that they must follow the rules. This is no place for a 6-year-old. And although Nikolai loves him as well, the boy must leave. He's already sent his documents. The discussion comes to an end when the Russians are forced to endure an attack by the Germans. Sometime later, it's time for everyone to say goodbye to Serioza. Nikolai even gives Serioza a replica toy gun that has his inscriptions on it. However, Nikolai just can't do it. He loves the boy too much. So he rips up the documents after asking Serioza to be his son. Following this, Jacob also decides to make a uniform for the little soldier. Serioza is part of the troops now. The boy is grateful when he receives his gift. However, the fun ends when they are attacked by a German plane. Nikolai gets him to safety before they go on the attack. Frightened, Serioza wanders around whining about what's going on. However, a surgeon puts an end to this. He implores him to be brave and be of help to the regiment. Once he gets a hold of himself, Serioza begins to give the injured soldiers some water to drink before helping them read their letters. It's hilarious because he's a 6-year-old kid. He can't read, so instead he begins to sing for them. Following the skirmish, Nikolai finds Katya with a sleeping Serioza. Interestingly, Nikolai tries to tell Katya that he has feelings for her, but Serioza wakes up. Unable to reveal his feelings in front of the boy, Nikolai makes up some excuses to send Katya back to the ward. Later on, Serioza asks Nikolai if he could be his orderly. The mood takes a sour end when Serioza and Nikolai discover that Jacob died in the battle. The next day, Serioza asks Nikolai for a mission since he's an orderly now. Nikolai instructs him to help deliver mail to the other soldiers. He enjoys this mission because he can use it to make the soldiers dance. Morale is at an all-time high. It grows even higher when Serioza discovers some legs hiding in a haystack when he goes on a scouting mission. He returns to the camp to drag some soldiers back to the haystacks, and to their surprise, they are able to apprehend some German soldiers. Meanwhile, the romance between Nikolai and Katya continues to be stifled by Nikolai's shyness. He finds Katya and her friend walking around, but rather than making his move when he picks her up, he fails to tell her his true feelings. Nonetheless, the soldiers are impressed by the young soldier. The achievement is made sweeter by the fact that Nikolai has officially adopted the little soldier. The sweet moment is even made sweeter by the fact that Serioza tells Nikolai that Katya is in love with him, but the soldier tries to brush him off. Serioza takes Nikolai to Katya, but they walk into Katya as she tries to brush off another soldier's advances. Embarrassed, Nikolai leaves. They have bigger things to worry about because there will soon be another battle. Serioza serves vigilantly by delivering ammo, but he's sent back to Nikolai's bunker. He hears that an important phone cable is down, so he traces the cable to the point where it's broken, within the arms of a dying soldier. Fortunately, he's able to get enough info from the dying soldier and is able to fix it. Later on, Serioza learns about how people struggle with love. He tries to bring Nikolai and Katya together, again, but Nikolai's shyness gets the better of him, again. This annoys Katya, who runs off. As Nikolai chases her off, Serioza is intrigued by some sled dogs. However, as he rides their sled, the dogs lose control. Luckily, Reza saves him. Meanwhile, Nikolai catches up with Katya, and he's finally able to ask her to be Serioza's mom. He'll get there one day. They are interrupted when Nikolai receives orders to leave their camp tomorrow. As the regiment heads to the base, they take a break at an inn. They are shocked to find an active bomb within the inn and are forced to move it safely. However, as they head out, they activate a mine on the road. Although some soldiers suffer minor injuries, Rezo is an unfortunate casualty of the incident, such as the nature of war. Soon the soldiers reach their destination. As Nikolai reports to a general, Serioza demands a mission, so Nikolai instructs him to perform a clothing and equipment inspection on Platoon 2. Although the men try to bribe him with some candy, the little soldier sticks to his guns and makes them get in line. Respect his authority. Following this, he returns to his superior officers with his report. Impressed, the general asks Serioza if there's anything he wants. Incredibly, this little rascal asks permission for Nikolai and Katya to get married. Even more incredibly, the general grants this request. Later that night, the mood is made even better when Nikolai reveals that the division will be getting awarded a Guards banner. It is their reward for their hard work and their valor. The next day, even little Serioza is granted this honor. What a lad. Unfortunately, the mood of the division goes south when Nikolai is badly injured in a battle. However, when Serioza visits him in the ward, Nikolai tells him to stand strong. Soldiers don't cry. In the final scenes, it is revealed that Serioza Alesho, the person who inspired this amazing story, was awarded the Medal for Battle Valor on April 27, 1943. He took part in the Stalingrad battle, and he was part of the regiment when they reached Poland. Following this, he dedicated his life to fighting crime, a true hero. So with that, this movie recap episode has come to an end. Let us know if you are intrigued to watch the movie after seeing our recap in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more recaps like this one. Till then, goodbye.